Hey guys, welcome to the Hypertrophy Hustle Show. So this week I'm speaking to Nick Shaw. So hopefully you know who Nick is. Nick runs Renaissance Periodization. So that is one of the companies that is just like blowing the fitness scene out of the water. It is fucking insane. So Nick, something I wanted to sort of start this off with is, what was the story for you in terms of founding Renaissance Periodization? Like, how did that start? Because it's one of those things where I think it's really sort of made people realize, like, shit, like you can market like evidence-based fitness. You can sell people the truth in a marketable way. Like, how did Renaissance Periodization start for you?
Yeah, totally. Thanks so much for having me on. Really appreciate it. The beginnings of RP. It all started one chilly day. I'm just kidding. I don't know if it was chilly or not, but it actually might have been. I went to the University of Michigan undergrad. Dr. Mike Israetel also went to the University of Michigan, and we met completely random in the weight room at the University of Michigan, like the student rec, center. He was squatting 405, which if you've ever been in like a student gym, you're just like, what the heck? Like, one, nobody squats. Two, nobody squats with good form. Three, absolutely nobody squats good form with 405 on their back. And so, my buddy and I were just like, what the heck? Like, who is this guy? Again, like, Mike's like 5'6" and whatever. At the time, he was probably, I don't know, like 210, 220, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, we're like, okay, it's probably a good idea to start chatting with this guy and whatever. I think I was training one day too, and I was just always a pretty hard worker, all that stuff, love lifting. And he's just like, hey, do you compete or anything? And I'm like, nah, not really. I just like lifting for fun. And he's like, hey, you should join the powerlifting club here at Michigan. I was like, all right. Yeah, well, I'll check it out. So he convinced me to do a meet. It was a lot of fun. Had a blast, and we started training together. He, wrote my first ever diet. He's like, hey, yeah, you should totally try to gain weight and stuff. I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, who doesn't want to eat and lift and, get jacked and all that? So, yeah, it's kind of funny looking back, like our first ever diet and training programs to, like now what we know and stuff, and just literally a million times better. But yeah, that's kind of the true starting of RP. He convinced me to train. That really got me hooked into like powerlifting, bodybuilding, the whole idea of, well, how do we like gain muscle? How do we lose fat? How do we get bigger and stronger? All that good stuff. And then Mike went, so he was 2 years ahead of me in school. So he went and got his master's at Appalachian State, which, if you know football, is really ironic because at the time they beat Michigan in football, which is a really big deal. And Mike was going there. I was at Michigan. Mike doesn't know anything about American football.
Neither. So,
just it's totally ironic there. But, so then he went to New York City to become a personal trainer. And he's like, hey, I just went out there and interviewed him. Like, I think they're looking for more people. Do you have any interest? And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do post-college. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll go out. So my buddy drove me out. It's like 9-10 hour drive from Ann Arbor to New York City. Went out and interviewed. He's like, yeah, we'd love to have you. So yeah, right after graduation, moved out to New York City. I had literally never been to New York City until I went out there and interviewed. So we were all living together, really crazy. I think Mike slept on a couch. I slept on like a blow up mattress for like the first month we lived in New York City. We were trainers and stuff. Even then, this was like 2009, so literally over 10 years ago.
Wow.
We probably knew more than like the people that were running the company in terms of like how to actually train people. And again, this was like 10 years before we really actually knew a lot of stuff, which kind of shows like what most people know in terms of training. But we started training at a bodybuilding gym in New York City, and we noticed that all these huge jack guys. We're like, wow, like these guys must really know what's up. They must really have great diet and training. And then we started like kind of listening to them and watching them train and all this stuff. And we're like, man, they don't know anything. And we're like, man, that's really interesting because these guys are huge. They're jacked. Like you would think that they know what they're doing. And obviously, they have some of the basics down, like training hard, eating right for the, things like that. Like, again, that makes up a large part. But we're like, well, what would happen if you took someone like that with really great genetics and you give them, evidence-based training program, evidence-based nutrition program? Like, well, how much better could people be? And so that was the first time we kind of thought, like, there's probably something there. And so, long story short, Mike left New York City after about a year to go get his PhD. I stayed, kept training people. just the amount of knowledge stuff that he picked up at the PhD program at East Tennessee State was just remarkable. So it got all of our stuff so much better. And that kind of got us into the whole mindset of like, well, hey, let's go back to this idea of, well, what happens when you have really good athletes and, they know all the science. And it's like if you combine the, quote unquote, bro science type, the meathead, so to speak, with, a really intelligent approach, like, well, what's going to happen? And so that kind of was how RP was born. And just kind of that whole idea of let's bridge the gap, let's bring them together. And so, now we've got like 25, 26 coaches, 20 PhDs. The cool thing is, they're all athletes themselves. So they compete in strongman or powerlifting or, jujitsu. I don't know if you've had Melissa Davis on your podcast yet. She's a world champion jujitsu grappler, and she's got a PhD in neuroscience. Jen Kay's PhD in literally sport nutrition, world champion jiu-jitsu grappler, like black belt. It's just crazy. So, it's like, well, what happens when you get these people that are, pretty genetically blessed or, the elite of the elite athletics, but they also know what they're talking about. And if you only have one or the other, it's a little bit tricky, or it's kind of easy to poke holes in their arguments. Like, oh, okay, well, you're a 140-pound dude that can cite all these studies, but you're a 140-pound dude, so like, how much can you actually know, right? And so people don't take you too seriously. But if you're a 200-pound person and you really look the part, and you can cite off all the studies and back it up, well, then it's really hard to kind of poke holes at someone. On the flip side of that, if you're a 250-pound, meathead, but like you don't know anything, well, then it's hard for the smarter people to take them seriously. Like, okay, well, you obviously have something working for you, but like you don't even know what evidence-based means. Like you kind of just go in and whatever, train as hard as you can and leave, and that's a big part of it, right? But there's a little bit missing. So kind of in a nutshell, that's RP and how it all started. And so I think that's kind of the general overview.
It's pretty crazy. It's kind of like you sort of realize like, oh shit, we've got these two things, right? We have evidence-based, where it's like typically you think all the meatheads think everyone in evidence-based is just small, and then you have the meatheads who everyone just thinks they're meatheads, right? And it's like it's been very cool to see. You'll create like monsters like Jared Feather, where it's just like, okay, look at this man. Like he is the epitome of this. Basically, it's like looks jacked as fuck, but knows what he's talking about, and it's just like, I don't know. It's as you said. That's a very good. That's sort of opened my mind to saying like, oh wow, that's the thing right there. There's not many arguments against that kind of thing. Like what are you gonna say? Like, oh, you look small? Nope. Like you don't know what you're talking about? Nope. So it's like, it's very, very cool. When did it kind of become this more thing where it's not just individualized coaching? Like there's definitely a part of it, but then things like the RP Diet app. Like when did those sort of things come into the picture? When did it sort of become like, hey, we want to affect everyone as much as possible and just give the biggest like boost to world health, I guess? Would that be along the line?
That happened way back in about 2014. So Mike wrote the Renaissance Diet. This is the 1.0, the first ever ebook we did, which is funny because if you look back at the quality of it, like I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we sold that. Like, I can't believe people bought that. The information was phenomenal in it, like just completely, game changing for so many people out there and, in the strength sports scene and all that good stuff. But it's just like the quality was, whatever. It's 2014, like, we were brand new, man. Like we didn't really know what we were doing, but it crushed it. And we were like, wow, all right. So instead of Mike and I working with, let's say, 50 people at a time through one-on-one coaching, this ebook that we just sold, and we didn't even sell it on the RP website. We sold it on Juggernaut's website, through Chad Wesley Smith, which totally kudos to Chad, man. Chad's one of the first people that really kind of took like, he stuck his neck out there for us to start writing some content and stuff on his site, which at the time was really, really big. So Chad's, a great guy. Definitely want to give him a huge shout out there. He was definitely instrumental in RP sort of getting our name out there. And again, this is way back in like 2014. So he played a big role in that. We sold the book through there. And, the book sold like thousands of copies like the first week, and we're like, wait, hold up here. We can, have, let's say, 100 clients between us, or we can create products that can reach thousands. So our minds are spinning. Mike's kind of the guy that creates everything. I kind of, think of more like the, business side and whatever, social media, marketing, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm like, Mike, we got to figure out a way to do this with one-on-one coaching. I'm like, I don't know how we do it, but like, give it some thought. Mike, I'll give Mike a little shout out here. Mike's basically, I would say he's the smartest person I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah, he's definitely up there for me. It's like, wow. Sometimes I'm like, good Lord, like, what the fuck are you made out of?
Yeah, so not only that, but I've literally had thousands of conversations with Mike over the years, and it's not only fitness, it's politics, it's economics, it's literally any topic, military, all that stuff. And Mike, Mike knows a lot about a lot of different things. And so, it's kind of like, Mike, I have this idea. I don't know how to do it. I'll leave that to you. Like, here's a rough idea. You go make it work. And so he's like, okay, yeah, I'll think about it. He's like, I think I can, definitely do something. And so we came up with the idea of the diet templates. And so we released those in February of 2015. And again, just kind of like for frame of reference, man, I was literally manually sending those out when we first launched them. Yeah. So like, if you bought the OG templates like from February to maybe like March or April, I was personally sending those out by email. Like literally copy paste everything and then like attaching the files and all that stuff. And for me, I quickly realized, I'm like, dude, this is not sustainable. Like, I can't do this. My time is much better spent. So then I got looking into like the whole automation part, and luckily knew some people that were like, hey, you need to go check out some software that can help do this stuff for you. And so like that was a huge game changer later in 2015. And like as soon as we did that, started implementing it, we really started to see like this pretty linear rise, which is really cool. Again, a lot of people ask us like, hey, did you have these like huge goals and ambitions for RP when you first started out? Like, man, Mike would say this too. We'd be totally lying if we said, yeah, like we thought it was going to become this like big, huge, massive thing. Dude, Mike, I thought we'd just be coaching bodybuilders for, he'd be a professor, I'd whatever, be a trainer and, have some online clients on the side, whatever. But, it's just like, I think, I don't want to call it luck, right? I don't think that's probably the right word, but maybe a tiny bit of luck.
It's like
in there.
Meeting preparation and all those things. It's like you wouldn't be in this position without putting yourself in the prior position. And it's like you didn't luckily fall into that. It's like you kind of you found a gap in the market, actually capitalized on it, and then rolled with it, and then...
Yeah, I mean, at the time, kind of looking back, something interesting too is, we got into, we were like really, when we first started off, we were really with like kind of hardcore athletes, powerlifting, bodybuilding, all that stuff. And then we kind of slowly made our way into weightlifting. And that was really interesting too, because weightlifting wasn't super popular at the time, way back 2014.
Olympic lifting?
Yes, snatch, clean and jerk. Yep. Like the sport of weightlifting. And so weightlifting and CrossFit is pretty intertwined. And so that's when things really got interesting. Because if you know anything about CrossFit, it was all paleo at the time.
Right. Like
no one even knew what macros were. And so then we come in and we're like, we don't have to just eat sweet potatoes, right? Like you can eat other things. And then people started doing it. And they started performing better and getting leaner and becoming better athletes. And they weren't eating paleo. And then people just lost their mind. They're like, oh my God, like what is this whole macro idea? And we're like, whereas like in bodybuilding, people kind of knew that for the longest time. Like, okay, protein, carbs, and fats. Like I need to eat certain amounts. And, maybe they're a little bit too, hardcore on some of that. It's the whole quote unquote, clean eating thing, which is kind of what we're seeing now. A lot of more like kind of older school bodybuilders are, definitely have that mindset. Whereas a lot of the kind of newer, like evidence-based people are like, oh no, you can do more flexible dieting. But yeah, that was a really interesting transition. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to be so one way or the other. Like there's some middle ground there, and we help people find that middle ground, and things have gone really well for us. So
it's really it's fascinating. It's like it blows my mind how much, like, you guys have like 300, 400,000 followers on Instagram. It's like the fact that an evidence-based company has that many is fucking dope. It's just like, I don't know, it's very cool to see. It's like, yeah, it's just like when it's getting to the scope now where it's like you're competing with those influencers who just put out trash, and like I don't think there's many influencers that are putting out like good stuff consistently. Like it's very rare because I don't think I feel like it's not short term in their best interest. But I don't know. I'm skeptical as to whether if they put out good information, maybe they just don't know it. But I'm sure there's a team behind them. If they got like 1 million followers, it's like, mate, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it really confuses me. But one thing I did want to touch on is, do you think, because you mentioned having those goals at the start, do you think that's like do you think you should have those goals or not have them? Or like, say for myself, I have my company, Hypertrophy Hub, so it's kind of similar. It's basically, the idea is I just give a fuck about hypertrophy. I want to then in the future go and do research on hypertrophy because it's pretty much, I think it's like underutilized for medicine. And like, do you think it's a reasonably bad idea to be like, I want to do this by 2025, you know, like it's kind of like, or do you think, does it matter having goals and all that? Because all the entrepreneurs always talk about these things, but.
So I think it's really important to, especially as an entrepreneur starting out, you know, the number one thing is you just got to be really passionate about what you're doing. And so, you know, luckily Mike and I have always been pretty similarly aligned in like our philosophy in that, you know, let's just try to do a good job. Let's try to get people results. Let's try to create good things. And, you know, let's go from there. Let's make sure we have that solid foundation built first, because what's really tricky to do, and I think this is why a lot of, you know, the influencers out there push things that are not evidence-based, because people want overnight results. People want results fast. And it's really hard and it's really difficult to try to level with people, and especially more general population. We've seen this a lot. You know, yeah, we've got a good amount of followers and stuff like that, but like you know, think about the strength sports world or, you know, the hypertrophy world in terms of like bodybuilding versus the general population. I mean, we're tiny, we're minuscule. And so when you start getting out there a bit more in the general population realm, you start having to deal with all these fads and gimmicks and quick fixes, and it's really hard. So for me, it's always been this, well, what do I truly think of that? All right, well, I know that stuff doesn't work, but at the same time, supply and demand, right? If you know economics, that will dictate what happens in the market. So what do people demand? They demand quick fixes. They demand quick results. So what are people going to do? They're going to supply it, right? They're going to provide people those. And whether or not it's true is almost irrelevant, right? So people are going to supply that. And so, you know, what we were like, well, all right, well, screw that. We're not ever going to do that. But let's just do a good job, get people results. People will tell their friends because they get good results. Word will spread slowly from there, and, you know, maybe in time we'll be able to compete on the, you know, greater scale. Excuse me, in which we kind of slowly have. So the ebooks led into the diet templates. So as a one-on-one coaching led into like the ebook product side, the product ebook led into templates. And then the templates over the years have slowly morphed into, well, how do we make that even better, right? Because, you know, templates are great. Don't get me wrong. They've helped literally hundreds of thousands of people around the world, which is awesome, super, super awesome. But they're only a PDF file, and there's only so much you can do with them. So what is even better than templates? Using the same kind of core logic, let's transform that and morph that into a mobile app. And so now we have the RP Diet app, which is just, you know, literally, and again, the templates are great. They've worked really well. I'm not ever going to bash the templates, but they are what they are, and they are limited. The app's literally 10 times better than the templates because it's interactive. It's not a static PDF file. There's so much more you can do with it. You literally build your meals. It'll program everything for you. You punch in like your schedule, lifestyle, goals, timeline, all that, and it literally tells you how much food you need to eat at every single meal. You can go in and choose your foods. Automatically does the math for you, so you don't have to figure out like, oh, you know, shit, I need 30 grams of protein. Like, how much chicken breast is that? Well, like a lot of people, like, one, they don't even know what macros are. So, well, how do you help simplify that process? Well, you do it for them. you build the tools to do it for them. And so it does all that, can literally build your shopping list based off the meals you pick. It gives you recommendations every week to update things for you. Very soon, again, I don't know when exactly this podcast will go out, but it's going to have a barcode scanner in it. So it's like, guess what? You're out on the road traveling. We got you covered. It literally doesn't matter. Boom, pull out your app, scan something. It's going to tell you how much to eat. You're set. So there's literally no more excuses, right? So you have a tool like that. And not only that, but it's actually cheaper than the templates too. So it's like, so again, another no-brainer. But, again, if you have tools like that available for people, well, what's your excuse? Like, why can't you do it, right? There's almost no good reason why you can't.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how much that can have an impact. Because it's like, I could go give that to my mum. My mum's like, she's asked me in the past, 1 week she told me that I was eating too much protein. She was telling me that protein was bad for me. Then the next week she's telling me that I'm not eating enough red meat and not getting enough protein. And I'm like, Mum, come on. And it's just, I'm basically dispelling fads left and right. And it's just I could just give her that app and it's just like sorted, It's
totally, man.
It's fucking cool. It's very like, it's cool to see that you can just kind of, okay, here's someone who they don't need to learn all these things. Because not everyone wants to study all this shit. They don't want to learn all this shit.
Nobody does.
Yeah, even the basics. It's like people don't want to go that in depth. But then it's like you can get something like that. It really made me go, like, when I first heard of it, I was like, holy shit. Like, it was just like, wow. Like, we actually have a solution. This is the one thing that I think can solve, like, obesity. Like, seriously, it's like one of the things where I think it's not going to be an easy fix, but I think it's a pretty damn good tool, because it's like, we can't just give people education because they're not going to fucking listen. I think it'll be very difficult to have like government mandated, like, okay, no more sugar, no more hyper palatable foods. If you're over this weight, you have to eat this amount of calories. Like, we just can't do that. It's not going to happen. So like, I feel like this is one of the few solutions that could potentially work.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, right? Because like you said, the vast majority of people don't care whatsoever about knowing anything about diet or training. But what they want are the end results. So how do we as an evidence-based folks, how do you take the information that we know that really works, and how do you package it into the most simplified version of that possible, so that you truly can give it to somebody that doesn't know a damn thing about macros, and they're like, oh, okay, well, here's what I do. Like, all right, I need to eat this amount at this time. Like, oh, okay, that seems pretty easy. And so, like, I've literally, my mom, right? So, my mom's roughly 60 years old. She's never worked out before in her life. About less than a year ago, I was like, hey, Mom, I'm going to buy you a CrossFit membership, because I knew she's never lifted in her life. I knew she's not going to go to the gym on her own, but I knew the social aspect of something like CrossFit, where you go and you sort of work out with a group. I was like, I think she's really going to like that. And so now she's hooked. She's like, yeah, I love it. She loves going to the same class like 3 times a week. She knows the same people. It's like a fun little social gathering. She's getting, she's lost a bunch of weight. Like, she uses the app and she's like, oh yeah, like, yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, my mom doesn't know anything about apps. Like, I don't even know. She barely has email. Again, yeah, I love my mom. Like, she barely has email, but I was like, if my mom can use this app, like, pretty much anybody can. Like, same with my sister. She literally doesn't know anything about macros. She's like, I could probably ask her, like, hey, what's like, what's a healthy fat? She'd probably be like, I don't know. She like wouldn't know it, but she did well. Part of that's because her boyfriend was like helping prep all of her meals too. But it's like, that's the idea, right? You have to take all this information that we know. You have to help break down all the fads and myths and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to create a product that is just super simple for people to use, because they don't give a crap. Like, well, why does this work? And you can be like, oh, okay, well, it's because this, and this, but they don't care. She's like, just tell me what to do. I'll go out and do it. And I want those results because, I want to be leaner. I want to be healthier. I want, whatever, quote unquote, 6-pack abs or, huge biceps or whatever it is. Like, people want all that stuff, and that's fine. but they don't want to have to do the thinking for, right? Like that's the whole idea of specialization. Like, there's a reason that, I'm not writing the books. I'm not, designing the algorithms in the app. I'm not smart enough, right? Like that's why we got Mike. And so, but, he doesn't know anything about, email marketing or, accounting or blah, 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 blah. So it's like, it's the whole idea of specialization. So let people that are good at some of them specialize in that. And then you take that sort of, expand it from there. So,
yeah. Did you find like when you first started this or during the early times and sort of compared to now, this is something I'm commonly sort of obsessed or thinking about. How, like, obviously you don't need to give an exact figure, but it's like how many hours a week were you sort of looking at? Like, was it the kind of thing where people always talk about entrepreneurship where it's like you seriously have to grind, bro, give up your whole fucking life? But it's like, was it more like, this is the way I sort of conceptualize success in my mind, or the way you get to something extraordinary? It's kind of like, hey, you can probably work just really fucking long hours, 7 days a week for like a few years instead of the rest of your life. Does that, and that's how you reach success, and then you can bring it down to like maintenance volume instead of like MRV.
Sure.
And like, is that along the, like, how was that sort of when you first got into this?
I think what you said describes my life almost perfectly. 2015 and 2016, no joke, I literally just worked. At the same time, I didn't, I never like sacrificed training. Training was always a part of it. That being said, it was not on the competitive level, right? So I've competed in powerlifting meet before. I've competed in a bodybuilding show before. I'm really below average at both, I'll say, and that might even, be generous. Again, I basically, once I had my daughter, so it was our second kid, I was like, okay, here's the real deal. Here's the real talk. So I have RP, I have kids now, and do I want to, try to be like a serious competitive bodybuilder? Like those are 3 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Nobody can work 3 full-time jobs. It's just, sorry, it's not going to happen. Like something has to give. And so I'm like, okay, well, family and family, you're not going to give up family. So
yeah, that one can't be put out.
Yeah, that one,
You're like, oh, what, kids, bodybuilding, fuck this shit.
Yeah. Yes, yep. And I'm like, okay, well, RP is probably going to be a good use of my resources and time. So I'm like, okay, those 2 are going to stay. And I'm like, well, the whole competitive bodybuilding thing, guess what? I'm putting all this time and effort into it, and I'm lean, but am I getting anything else? Am I being paid for it? Like, no, like I'm spending tons of money to do it. So I'm like, all right,
fuck this shit.
Yes, I'm
it's
like,
kind of
okay,
like,
this is probably just not the best. And again, it's super hard, man. If you've ever competed before, anyone out there that's listening that's competed before, I mean, you know how hard it is. It's literally the hardest sport in the world. You're just constantly grinding around the clock. And like, is that beneficial? It'd be like a business owner. Like, could you imagine, responding to like customer service emails when you're like,
prep.
yeah, like a no card day, and you're
that.
like, someone's like, hey, I didn't get my template, and you're like, ah,
You're like, fuck out of here.
Yes, exactly.
God
so
damn.
it's one of those things. I'm like, well, all right, well, I'm not going to compete anymore. And it's like, all right, whatever. I can still lift, right? But there's a difference between hardcore, serious bodybuilding competing and literally takes hours a day versus, you go to the gym, or like now, I'm fortunate where I have a home gym. So it's like I literally walk downstairs, knock out a male physique template workout. I'm done in like an hour. Go upstairs, shower, I eat. I'm back, kind of, working a little bit here and there. So, it is one of those things where, did learn a lot. I think, small businesses, there's this point that you reach where it's like, do you just keep grinding and doing everything yourself, or do you start to outsource and, leverage other people's time and resources to help you? And, we started to do that, started to get more customer service help in 2016, 2017. So things have definitely shifted, in terms of like how much manual work I have to do, which is what you want, right? If you're going to run a business, because otherwise, do you have a business or do you have a job, right? So if you're a small business owner and you're literally doing everything, I mean, that's totally great, right? Because you kind of have to at the start to, make it profitable and make it make sense. But, that was something really interesting. And, tools like automation definitely played a big role in that. And then just kind of being able to realize, like, guess what? If you really want to have a successful business, you have to have other people helping you, and you have to have really smart other people helping you. And, all our coaches, man, dude, it's like, why do I need to be coaching people? I'm like, everyone's smarter than me. Like, let our coaches coach, and I'll just sit back and kind of help. I don't know, steer the ship, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that's been really interesting, and it's like what you said, man. You really, there's going to be a couple of years where you just really got to grind, and there's almost no way around that. I think pretty much anyone who's fairly successful, and especially people that are much more successful than we are, RP, because we're still kind of a small business overall, versus the Fortune 500 companies and all that. Like, there's gonna be a point where you just got to grind for a while, and there's no way around it. But at the same time, hopefully you can kind of come up for air at some point and kind of get to the maintenance level. It's actually a little bit of enjoyable life.
Yeah, it's. I feel like this is only really possible if you actually like the thing you're doing, right? It's like, to me, like, I wanted to be a podiatrist for a bit, and then I was like, you know what? Honestly, fuck this shit. Like, I was just kind of like, in reality, I have so many issues with the way podiatry is done. Well, a few key ones that I would just be so annoyed doing it. It would just be like, I wouldn't want to put any hours into this shit. And like, I realized, like, I want to be really successful, right? But how do I do that? It kind of has to be something that I really, really like. And I don't want to just pursue money for money's sake. Like, I've had people in my life demonstrate that money doesn't make you happy. So what? And like, I guess if that's the metric we're trying to maximize in life, if we're trying to maximize happiness, like net happiness or net fulfillment, then money probably isn't the only way to go about it, right? Like, I don't know. Like, does it feel different now to when it was first getting off the ground? Like, do you think it was beneficial to tell yourself, like, David against Goliath kind of story? Like, in my head all the time, I'm like, fuck yeah, it's me versus the whole industry, bro. And it's like, I don't know. Have you read
I think
Ego's the Enemy?
I have not. It's on my list of books to read.
It's very good.
By Ryan
Holiday,
right?
I got it tattooed on me. So the statue on the front, that's how much I like that book. So it's like, good recommendation there. Or good review.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. It's actually one of the things that I picked up. It's actually a really interesting story. So I knew that I was going to go on NBC Sports. We did a little thing with, it was on a golf show.
Golf, yeah.
Yeah. And so we had Rich Froning, like, he's basically like the Michael Jordan of CrossFit, super jacked. And we had a PGA Tour guide, and we had like the world long drive champion. So I was like, man, like, I'm going to be around all these, like, pretty good athletes and stuff. I'm like, I got to look the part. And so I dialed in, and I went on a pretty tough, like, 8-week diet to get ready for that, which was, I don't want to say fun, right? Dieting is never fun. But, I had certain goals. I'm like, yeah, I just got dialed in. And I guess it sort of reinvigorated me in just the whole, like, self-improvement, track. And so I got really into listening to audiobooks when I was just outside walking for cardio. Just started reading a lot more in general, like all sorts of books on, business, marketing.
Any particular ones? Any particular recommendations?
Man, it's so funny, man. For like, from 2015 to early in 2019, I was like, man, it's embarrassing to say now. Honestly, it's truly embarrassing. I was like, man, I read like maybe a handful of books, and they were like probably just more like leisure books, like for fun, like about sports or something. But now this year alone, I've probably read like at least 30 or 41. So specific recommendations. Boy, any kind of stereotypical book that you would even think about in terms of like business stuff, I've probably read it this year. How to Win Friends and Influence People, like Jim Collins, Good to Great, man, all that stuff I've read them all. And there's a reason that everyone talks about them too. Like, they're really interesting. And I've learned a lot. When I'm reading a book now, I'll take, pull out my phone, I'll like take a picture and I'll send it to Mike, and I'm like, hey, like, check this out. I'm like, this is how it relates to us. or, I make little mental notes. I've got I've got a notepad app in my phone, and I've probably got like 50, 60 books on there with different notes and stuff. And so maybe someday I'll, and it's also interesting too, because I've started to now that I've read all these books, I'm starting to pick apart like the key parts of some of, the main ones. I'm like, boy, that sounds really familiar to what this book's saying. And it's like, what's kind of the key take-home message? So in my mind, I'm kind of like formulating all these various different things, and I'm going to kind of make, these overall notes of like, well, hey, guess what? Like, here's how all these successful people have done it, but like, here's the things that are similar between them. And you do that enough, you start to come up with this kind of list. And you're like, all right, well, here's probably, some things I need to be doing better. And so for me, it's been really interesting. And I'm just like, truly embarrassing. I'm like, man, I didn't do any of this stuff before. And now, like, because again, we've sort of put the systems in place to help run RP, that now I have a little bit more time to focus on things like this. And, myself, how can I get better, in X, Y, Z and different things like that. So, it'd be really interesting, man, if you've got some cool book recommendations. I'm sure I could pull up, a handful too that I think would be really good.
I just read, it's more for, I think it's, do you know Lyndon Purcell of JPS? He's really cool. He recommended this book to me, Letters to a Young Contrarian. And it was like spot on for me at the time. Because honestly, a lot of the time on the podcast, I will be like a contrarian. Like I will say like, oh, and I'll say things that are not provoking. I'm not trying to provoke people. I'm definitely not trying to provoke the listeners. It's more I'm trying to find something that hasn't been talked about that should be talked about. And then figure out how to talk about it in a useful way, and that can actually facilitate something, a good end result. And this book was kind of like, hey, here's the fucking guide on how to do that, basically. It's like, here's the guide on how to talk about unique, useful things without being boring as fuck or useless or straight up arrogant. Very cool.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting one, that last point. May I ask how old you are?
I'm 20.
Okay. So something that I noticed, we had this intern, and he was helping us with creating some like memes and stuff for social media, and he reminded me a lot of me when I was probably around your age. And it's one of these things where, it's kind of the whole contrarian thing, and you got to be really careful, I think, not to be overly arrogant, because when you are that age, whatever, 18, 21, 22, even early 20s, whatever, you just you think that you know everything. And people that don't think like you, it's very easy to be like, they're a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And if you lead with that, it's never going to work, right? If you want to help convince people, or you want to, have a debate, and again, man, like, kudos to Mike. Mike is fantastic at this. He can hate your viewpoint, but you're not going to know that. He's gonna come off and be super nice and super friendly. And he's like, oh yeah, like I totally see where you're coming from. That's super interesting. I agree on some parts of it, but what do you think about, X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And man, that approach is 1,000,000 times better than saying, hey, fuck you, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
which
it's crazy. It's like, I sort of witnessed him doing that a few times, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I had Lyndon's very good at doing it as well. He's from JPS, and I was just like, wow, I was just like, holy shit, these people are just masters of navigating, I guess, convincing people. It's like, without, it's fascinating.
So again, if you go back and you read How to Win Friends and Influence People, that's that book 101, because you just, you know this, right? You got it tattooed on your body now, but like, ego is the enemy. If you think you know everything, no one's going to want to listen to anything you have to say.
Agree.
You have to be open-minded, and you have to be friendly. And again, man, that is totally 180 of how social media works nowadays, where if anyone disagrees with you, it's like heads are going to roll for people. And it's like, that's just not how you get anything done. Yeah. It's only going to decrease the divide. And we're seeing a lot of that here in the U.S. with like politics and all that stuff. It's like, you can't, it's almost like if you even hold an opinion on anything, 50% of the people out there are going to hate you. So it's just like, it's really interesting. Me personally, I'm gonna shut the hell up because like as a business owner, it's just no matter what you do, it's a no win. So. Again, I love Mike. That's the only, that's one of the things where like maybe I've rubbed off on him, right? So most of the time it's the other way around. He's rubbing off on me, but I'm like, Mike, maybe part of your problem is because you're so smart, you want to try to convince people of why they're wrong on X, Y, Z, and I'm like, being outspoken like that sometimes can have a negative effect, and so he's like, Mike's a very, very open person, right? He'll, just bullshit about whatever. And I'm like, in today's day and age, you can't do that as much. And so I've kind of had to be like, Mike, like, dude, you can't do that. Sometimes he'll text me to be like, hey, can I post this? And I'm like, dude, that's, I wouldn't recommend it. And sometimes he'll do it anyways. And then it ends up causing a shitstorm. And I'm like, I told you so. And then he's like, okay, yeah. So, that's happened a few times. Really tricky, man.
Yeah, it's hard because I think we're in an environment where certain conversations aren't allowed, and it's like, I get what the people who are forbidding these conversations or not allowing them to occur are doing, but I don't know, I think it's going about it in the wrong way. Like, I think the truth always finds its way, like, I think, I don't know.
It's a really tricky one, man. It's a really tricky one these days. I'm not sure that I have the best answers, but I do think if people were more open-minded and a little bit less emotional, that would be a great start. Again, just from reading everything that I've reading, focus on self-improvement and all that stuff. Like that's something that I'm taking very seriously. And if I do vent to somebody, usually it's to Mike. I'll call him up and I'll vent to him, not to anyone else. And then he's usually the one saying the exact same things that I'm saying right now. He's like, okay, calm down, don't be as emotional and all that. So it's funny how that works. It's one big circle there. But man, it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting times we live in. I love social media. It's done wonders for us. It's allowed us to do so much good, help so many people. But man, at the same time, it's like, I think so. I have two small kids, right? My son's 7.5, my daughter's 5.5. Like, do I want them to be on social media when they're in like junior high and high school? I'm like, man, I don't.
Shit is scary. But then there's so many dilemmas, right? Because it's like, you should look at Jacob Skipper's post after this. It's very good. It's basically like his strategy. It's like an evidence-based strategy to expose your kids to technology. Very cool.
Who's it?
He runs JPS, Jacob Skipper's.
Oh, okay.
CSCHEPIS. Very good. He made it a while ago. It's like his kid on the laptop playing a game. And it was very cool. But it's scary, man. It's like, fuck, I don't even know. Like, when I get to the age where I'm having kids, I don't know if it will be moral to have kids at this point. I'm like, fuck, like, kids are in such a shitstorm. Like, I'm 20 and I feel like I just missed it, right? And I'm still pretty like addicted to my phone and like, it's fucked. And then I'm not that bad for kids my age. It's like some kids my age are terrible. It's like they get like disciplined at their jobs for going on their phone too much. It's like, why are you going on your phone at your job where you're meant to be working? It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I think maybe it's everyone views the current, maybe at all times, maybe it's like some paradox where at all times we view the generation of 20-year-olds or whatever as just idiots that do shit wrong and corrupted by technology or whatever. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like we're in an environment where they're just fucked. Like they have no chance to be like, they're much less likely to become super productive, happy, fulfilled adults. Like it feels as though they're all either depressed or they're not doing anything productive or they're not fulfilled or they're not happy or they're just materialist, like just obsessed with materialistic things.
Well, it's because, I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here and even claim that I know some of the answers, but it's like, well, everyone's comparing themselves to everyone else, right? On social media. And you see someone else and they're like, check out all this awesome stuff I got. I'm so awesome. It's like, well, you read that and you're like, and again, I mean, I'm guilty of this too. I'll look at other stuff and I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, dang, so-and-so just did this. And there's probably other people thinking that about, some of the stuff I post. So it just goes round and round and round. But, man, it's really tough. And yeah, I mean, social media is great, but
it's a fucking whirlwind. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. It's kind of the thing, like, as a 20-year-old, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's the best worldview to move forward in the world? Like, how do I do that? And it's like, I don't know. Will you ever figure it out? Not sure. But it's just like, all I can really do is talk to smart people, see what they think, move forward doing that. Like, that's pretty much my strategy.
Totally.
Seems to be working. Don't know. Like, I might be just talking to biased people. You never know. Like,
maybe, but if those smarter people, whatever, if they're kind of giving you both sides of the coin, and it's not just like, yes, you must do X, Y, Z. It's like, you should probably do X, Y, Z, and if you don't, here are the possible trade-offs. I mean, that's how I like to pitch things in terms of diet and training too. It's like, all right, well, here's probably the best things to do. Do this. If you don't do this, understand why. Here are some of the trade-offs that are going to come with that. Like, guess what? If you choose to do intermittent fasting, well, okay, here's probably what you're trading off a little bit of. But, if you're someone that struggles more with nighttime hunger, okay, that's a cool strategy. If you're someone that trains in the morning and you want to do intermittent fasting, probably doesn't make as much sense. Different things like that. So hopefully it's pretty easy to spot the people that aren't biased, because they can sort of talk about things both ways. And something that you said, I think it is really important. A lot of successful people have mentors, and they have other people that they look up to and ask for help. And if you're doing that, I think you're on the right track, because, there's a lot that I don't know. And so what do? I try to ask people that have, done it before, or probably have some better insight than me, or, for example, in terms of like software development, I don't know a goddamn thing about software development. We've got a great team of 4, engineers that do all that. And so, it's been very humbling for me, because it's been a transition for us big time this year. And so, I'm used to, I definitely like to get things done, immediately, as fast as possible, especially based on user feedback. And before, with like digital products, we could do that. So, okay, hey, Mike, guess what? You go into this template and change, this. And, okay, he'd send it to me like an hour later. We'd be done. We upload it. It's like, boom, it's done. It's like, man, it doesn't work like that in software development. It's like, oh, hey, here's some user feedback. Great. Let's think about the best way to implement it. Then it's going to take like 2 months to, build it and code it. And then it's going to take like another 2 months to test it and make sure, shit doesn't break when you give it to people. And so, yeah, it's just that's been really interesting for me. And so now I've kind of learned, I'm still learning, that, yeah, if we think something's going to be done in 1 month, it's probably better to say it's going to take 2 or 3, because that's just the way software development works.
Yeah. Is there anything that you did like in the early days of starting this, or in your 20s, or that sort of time when you were young, sort of around my age, or whenever you started sort of becoming successful or striving for something that was sort of deemed success, or deemed like difficult or hard or necessary or whatever? Was there anything you did that you think really made like an impact, or particularly people wouldn't think about? Like, for instance, in terms of like something that I think I've done well is figure out ego is a big issue, and now basically focused a lot on, like, I have written on my wall right there, for whatever comes next, ego is the enemy. And it's just like, yeah, that's the thing that for me has been like, oh shit, this is fucking crucial. Like, it's just crucial. Like, as a podcaster, say if I get a shit ton of views and then I just become an egotistical cunt, like, no one, it's just a terrible idea, right? Everyone in my life will be like, you're a dick. So it's like, in every way it would be bad. Is there anything for you that you sort of found was like, shit, this is fucking important, and you realized it early on and you just made sure you ran with it?
Well, I think one of the really important ones was kind of, I don't know, I've always kind of been the type of person that, I probably learned this from my dad, right? I'm like my dad in many ways. He's a super hard worker. I just kind of thought that I could sort of do everything myself, and I would just work harder than everybody else. Well, that's good and bad, right? It's obviously you have to have a really great work ethic if you want to be successful, but at the same time, you can only be so successful when it's just you. And that was probably one of the things that I learned, probably in like 2016. So it took a while. But it's so real quick, I'll give some context to that. It's hard to, when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the thick of it, and you're just literally slammed every day with, so many emails and whatever. It's a lot harder. Like, you can say, all right, yes, I need to go get help, but it's a lot harder when you have to still keep up with the day-to-day tasks, and at the same time you have to start thinking bigger picture. And so you kind of get caught in that rat race, and it's like you can't really get out and can't really escape. So, you know, that was probably a big mindset shift. It was like, oh yeah, I just definitely need more help. You can't do everything yourself, even if you are the hardest worker around, because, you know, and my wife joined me, and you know, her and I, like, I'm not even kidding, like literally every single day for like 3 years straight, we never went to bed until like every single email was answered.
Damn.
And so again, like, did that kind of lay the foundation for, you know, people to think of RP and think of like good customer service, and like, you know, we care about our, you know, customers and you know, members and all that? Like, yes. But at the same time, you can only do that for so long before you kind of get burnt out. And like, now we have a really great customer service team, and like, I basically don't, you know, I still am involved in it, but it's like, yeah, well, it goes through the proper channels because we have systems in place now for it.
Mm. One thing, this is a completely... Wait, did you have more to say there?
No, not really. That was it. I think that's probably the biggest one, right? Just kind of shifting from, hey, you know, I need to do everything myself, to, hey, I need to let other people do this. I need to think about how we get, you know, people that are good at that stuff, and let them do what they're good at.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I think I probably need to realize at some point, because I'm kind of right now, I'm in the mode where I'm thinking, okay, what's my MRV in terms of work? And then I basically try and do that, because I'm trying to like study for podiatry, like try and pass that shit with not terrible grades so I can get into masters, and then do this podcast, doing like 2 episodes a week minimum, and then like doing some other stuff that's not public yet, and then trying to be a bodybuilder. It's like, okay, mate, like, and then trying to, you know, not go broke, because this is not my job fully yet, and that encompasses like other stuff. And it's just like, okay, you have so many hours in the day. Like, some people like to socialize sometimes, you know, like, that's something that, this is kind of what I want to talk about, actually. And let me know if this is too personal. I don't think doesn't need to go into specifics or anything, but did you find, here's my experience with it. I've talked about this with someone before, but it's kind of, I'd be interested to get your take. With relationships, so like romantic or non-romantic, I personally have found it hard to manage being like, hey, I want to work harder than pretty much anyone my age. Like, most people my age just want to fuck around, watch Netflix, and get drunk or whatever. And Netflix and chill. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that shit. I don't have time for that shit.
Sure.
And it's like, I don't know, I found it reasonably difficult managing that, because it's kind of like, most people your age want to do certain things that aren't productive or they aren't constantly striving for success, and that's probably normal. Did you find that difficult when you were like around my age? Did that stuff kind of...
Totally, yeah. So I hate the idea of average, and I hate it. You know, whatever, doesn't, you know, Mark Bell, I think, has a quote that's, you know, I'd rather be dead than average. I don't know if I'd go quite that far. I totally understand that, you know, mindset, but yeah, I mean, you know, luckily I had, you know, some close friends. I had a good like training group when I was in college, and, you know, then had Mike to kind of lean on a little bit. Yeah, man, if, again, you're trying to be an outlier, right? You know, it's not everyone wants that. I don't want to be average, so I don't want to sit around and bullshit. Yeah, I don't drink. I don't party. I never really did. I did for like 1 semester in college, and I think that was maybe actually part of the reason that pushed me into the fitness, because I did, and I still worked out and stuff when I was doing that, but you know, I like literally got back from spring break one year, and I'm just like, literally all we did was just party. I'm like, this is the stupidest fucking waste of time in the world. I'm like, I got back and I just felt like shit. And I honestly, after that, like, I met Mike probably maybe right before that, maybe before I went on that trip or something. But I was like, yeah, I kind of became like an outsider. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm like, yeah, I want to go train. I want to go get better. I want to focus on getting better. And it's really interesting. My wife's like 10 years older than me, so I never really had to deal with that, because I was like, you know what? Yeah, like, guess what? People my age, they probably don't give 2 shits, you know, about doing this, so we go do whatever. But guess what? You know, you go for someone a little bit older, and they're more mature, and So my wife doesn't drink or anything like that. So she didn't give two shits about that. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. And so yeah, I mean, it worked out great. Very similar interests and all that. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? People talk about that all the time, right? People, if you're an average person and you see someone that's trying to do something that's a lot better, we see this a lot of time with people trying to diet and use RP, right? Let's say you work at, in any typical normal workplace. Well, if you're someone that's like bringing in home cooked food and like trying to stick to a meal plan, and there's donut setting in whatever, the conference center or whatever, well, most people are going to go eat the donuts. And then when they see someone that's not eating the donuts, they're going to be like, well, what the hell? Why aren't you eating them? And you're like, oh, well, because, I'm like basically trying to better myself. And then people see that and then they basically feel bad about themselves. So they're going to give that other person shit about it to basically try to bring them back down to their level. So I think you just have to be careful to kind of rise above that. And yeah, you'll probably find some people out there. I would just, I don't know, look for. I mean, it sounds like I already do it anyways. This podcast, talking to various people and all that, but just find people that want to be different, want to exceed, want to be better than average, and associate more with those people. Because again, I think again, it just goes back to reading. If you read all this stuff, read all these biographies and all that. Well, there's a reason that high achieving people hang out with other high achieving people, and there's a reason that they don't hang out with average people a lot. Because guess what? Those average people. I don't mean this in a negative way, bad way, but yeah, guess what? They're going to try to bring you down. Guess what? You need to go, you need to go work for 3 hours. Guess what? Other people want to sit around and drink and eat and have fun. Like that's normal. And I'm not saying people shouldn't do that, but probably something to that, man. You got to hang out with the people you want to try to be like, or emulate and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I think it's really a conflicting one, right? Because it's like, oh hey, a lot of my friends, normal people, and like we get along great. The ones who do understand and support it, and they realize like, oh hey, I get why you're doing this. I wouldn't want to personally do that, but props to you. And like
totally.
That's great. And like I think that's fantastic, right? But then there's a large amount of people that just they can't even understand it. They can't even grasp it. Like, oh, why on earth would you work from like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day? It's like, why would you do that? Well, there's like, I don't know. It's hard to articulate these things to people, and I guess there's not much point.
Yeah, and I think over time you probably find that you don't really hang out with those people a whole lot. That totally don't get it. It's really interesting, and these parallels apply to dieting and training folks, right? Like, let's say you're not in very good shape and you're kind of like other average people or whatever at work, and then all of a sudden 3 months later you commit to something really hard. Well, guess what? Those same you started at the same spot as everyone else. Everyone else has stayed in that same spot. 3 months from now, whatever, let's say you lost 10, 15, 20 pounds, you're looking great, feeling great. Those same people, those are the people that'll be like, oh, like, well, what'd you do? Like, how'd you get there? And you're like, are you kidding me? Like, I did it right in front of you. Like, guess what? Whether it's, getting leaner, getting abs, getting stronger, whether it's, building businesses, becoming successful in business, like, there are no shortcuts. At some point, you just got to be able to grind, and you got to be disciplined, and you just got to do it. You're not going to want to do it, right? Like, man, there's stuff I don't want to do all the time. Guess what? I do it anyways because it's just, part of being an adult. Or, a lot of people, they won't do that. They'll take the easy road because it's easy, and they don't want to take the hard road. And I think that's a big thing. I've become pretty big recently on, if you want a book recommendation, I'll give you one, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that. That one's one that I've heard quite a few times. What is the basic premise? So you want to be better at anything? Well, you take ownership of it, right? No one else is going to fix it for you. It's on you. Guess what? So, for example, if anything goes wrong at RP, well, do I blame someone else? Do I blame that person? Is it their fault, or is it ultimately my fault because I didn't, basically tell them that they needed to, here's the objective, and here's how. Not that I would tell them how exactly to accomplish it, but I didn't do a good enough job of explaining kind of the overall picture and mission, that the objective that we're trying to attain. Like, so if you read a lot about leadership, it's, you need to do a good job of explaining, like, here's the overall goal. Here's what we want to do. You can't tell people exactly how to do it, right? You need to go out and get smart people and let them do their thing. So it doesn't, not everyone's going to do stuff like me, and that's fine. As long as the end result is what we're all after, then the rest almost doesn't really matter. So, different things like that. And of course, he's like a Navy SEAL.
And so what's really fascinated me, I'm actually going tomorrow morning. I'm flying up to Baltimore, Maryland, and a talk that I'm giving is to a bunch of tactical folks. They run a non-profit at their gym, and they train a lot of guys getting ready to go to BUD/S training, which I don't know if you're familiar with kind of Navy SEALs. No, okay. So they're like kind of the most hardcore, like badass military people in the world. Like some of the hardest training in order to go through, in order to get, it's very, very elite. And you have to go through BUD/S training. So it's basic underwater demolitions training, basically. And it's like some of the hardest training on Earth. From an evidence standpoint, it doesn't really make any sense. Like for you and I, like I'm very confident that I couldn't do it. And because I'm probably not mentally tough enough, right? And I would be like, okay, well, I just ran 4 miles. I don't want to run 4 miles again because like I'm going to basically get the shit beat out of me. I know I'm not going to recover, but that's just like, you know, kind of part of it. They're training for mental toughness. It's not an evidence-based approach to, you know, how to recover or how to get faster. That's not the goal. That's not the objective. The goal is for them to beat your ass down to basically you want to quit. So 150 guys join. There's going to be like 20 that come out at the end of it.
Shit.
Well, that's the goal, right? Yeah. And these are all elite athletes to begin with, but it's not to see who can run fastest, jump highest, swim furthest or fastest. No, that's not how it works. So you basically just need to have this innate resolve, mental toughness, whatever it is, in order to do it. So I'm kind of fascinated by all that stuff. It's just, you know, high performing individuals. I want to learn everything that I can about people that perform at the highest levels of pretty much, I don't care what it is. I want to sort of draw some parallels from them, what they do, and see if I can apply it to my daily life. And I think I have in some aspects, and I'm still kind of trying to work on it, learn, and, you know, how do I get better? Because I love that idea. That's what drew me into bodybuilding. I'm sure it's what drew you into bodybuilding. Was this constant pursuit of getting better. And
it's what drew me into this as well. It's like, because I get to sit down, have conversations with smart people. It's like, yeah, I feel like I've got a cheat code. Like, honestly, it's like, I basically get to ask people like yourself the question, like, these are not listener submitted questions. These are just questions that I'm curious about. And it's like, wow, you know, like, I get to do this shit for free, and then I get to get paid for it eventually. It's like, fuck, you know, it's just like, wow. I don't know, how can that get any better? It's like literally going to the source, like the smartest people I can find, and asking them questions. It's just like, wow, you know, like any area as well. I could have like whoever the fuck. I've had like, back when the podcast was not fitness, I had a magician on. I was going to have a pickup artist on. Like, I could literally, if I can get them on the podcast, then it's fair game. It's like, wow, you know, it's truly fucking amazing. It's honestly, I think, I don't know, it's like, I honestly think I've hacked it. Like, it's just like, wow, I feel so fucking lucky that I get to do this shit.
Well, people want the hacks, right? So what's kind of a good way to hack? Well, there's a reason that all these, you know, really popular books out there sort of try to find the most successful people in the world, and they, you know, talk with them. You know, one of the most popular books of all time is, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Well, what did he do? He literally interviewed like the 30 like wealthiest people back in, like, you know, early or late 1900s, whatever. And, you know, Rockefeller, and it's like, dude, well, yeah, you're kind of trying to do the same thing. You're trying to find the smartest people, get all their stories, collect them together, and then say, like, okay, well, you know, these people did these things, and well, how do they intertwine, and, you know, what are the overriding principles? And if you can start to develop the overriding principles that lead to success, well, that is kind of like a hack, right? Because if you do these things, yeah, you might not have their same level of success, or, you know, whatever, but that's all relative, right? Because some people's success might be different than others. So, yeah, well, I'm probably not going to be John Rockefeller and worth, you know, like $100 billion, but, you know, can I be better than I would if I didn't do any of this? Yeah, sure, you know, and instead of a personal trainer in New York that, you know, had like 10 clients online, well, guess what? I've got the fortunate ability to, you know, literally help hundreds of people, you know, all over the world, and hopefully, you know, someday that number will be in the millions.
Yeah, it's fucking insane, man. It's honestly like, I don't know. I think people, I hate when entrepreneurs talk about like, I don't know. It irks me when people are like average, non-average, right? But then it's like I feel like it is kind of fundamentally true, which makes me kind of sad in a way. It's like there's a small percentage of people who really, really want things, right? And they really are willing to work for them. And then they do, and they make extraordinary things. Oh, something that I was going to say before, it sort of ties into this. It's like, and then I think people get the perception that people who have extraordinary success, that they just magically got there. Like, not, they know they've put in work, right? They kind of know that in the back of their mind, right? But it's like people even now, like, I have, like, no success. I'm, like, 20, right? But even my level of success, people my age kind of think, like, I'm beginning to get the feeling that people are kind of perceiving it as, oh, that just happened. You know, like, it wasn't like, I've been doing this for the last 2 years. For the first year, I had, like, 7 views a podcast. It's like, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think people can't perceive, like, what has gone into having any degree of success. Like, Eric Helms put it well. He was like, and like I did an episode where we're talking about social isolation and entrepreneurship, and he was talking how he had to put in so much work just to get the needle to move a tiny bit. And it's like, I feel like that's literally that happens to literally every person in this kind of field, or any person in any entrepreneurial field. It's like, to get shit to move an inch takes like 50 miles, and it's like, but then eventually it starts actually moving by itself. And yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird, but it's like
I think it goes back into the whole, like, the fad or the hacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even I, you know, look at really successful people and I'm like, oh man, like, the same thing happens to everybody. People underestimate sort of what it takes to get there, but at the same time, yeah, obviously, you know, being evidence-based, like, yeah, genetics play a big role. I'm never going to be a pro bodybuilder. You know, who's to say that I couldn't have if I would have, you know, not had a family and not really given a shit about RP and, you know, just took gallons of gear. Like, okay, I might have, you know, eventually one day, because I love training and all that. But again, the amount of work that it would take to get there was just ridiculous. Like, I think consistency is imperative in anything. And yeah, a lot of people don't want to do that, man. A lot of people don't want to put in the work to get where they want. You know, people kind of think we're an overnight success. Well, guess what? In 2013, even 2014, no one knew who we were. No one gave a shit. Like, whatever. And then, you know, all of a sudden 2015, people are like, oh, what's RP? Like, oh, where'd they come from? Like, well, guess what? Yeah, we're an overnight success, but it's actually been like, you know, 3 years in the making. And yeah,
did it happen really fast? Like, this is something that I'm wondering for me, right? Like, because my listener numbers is the thing that's my gauge of success pretty much. And it's slow. It's like slowly increasing, right? So it's not like, wow. Like, there's been big jumps, but it's not like massive jumps that are like monumental, like from like 1,000 listeners to 1 million. It's not like that kind of shit. Like, for you, was it like really fast? You're like, holy shit, this shit's working. Like, all the groundwork I've put in, now people realize it really quickly? Or is it like...
Well, the templates in the automation in 2015 kind of, they helped with that a lot. Because, again, it literally scaled our ability to coach people and get results. And what was really interesting, so we released them in February of 2015. And whatever, like, you know, I forget how many they sold that first month or whatever. But it wasn't until about April when it really started to take off. Because why? Well, 3 months later, people were using them. And people were getting results. And then people were like, well, this only costs $100. I don't have to pay $500 for coaching. They're like, oh, well, shit, I'm going to go get a template. And then more and more people got templates. And then 3 months later, a lot of people got, you know, great results. And then they would tell their friends. And then with social media, we were able to share all that with more and more people. And yeah, that was kind of the blueprint. Create products, make sure they work really well to get people results. Those people will tell their friends, all that good stuff. And then boom, like, because they're digital products in nature, it's much easier to scale. So, you know, for you, well, a podcast is infinitely scalable, right? Like, anyone in the world can listen to it anytime they want. So again, yeah, there's a lot, you know, Eric Helms said it takes a ton to move the needle just a bit. And I'm trying to think, what book was it? I forget the exact title of it, but it's like, it's relatively new. It's a yellow cover. It's like something like the Laws of Success or something like that. I can't pronounce the author's name.
Definitely not Robert Greene.
No, not Robert Greene. It's the second Laws of Success or something like that. I could probably email you afterwards because I got a copy. Mike actually told me about it. He's like, "Hey, you should read this." Okay. Of course, I ordered it on Amazon. It's there the next day, and I read it all, whatever. But it's like, it takes a ton to move the needle a little bit, but then it's like it basically takes a little bit of success to become more successful, and then it's the social proof principle, right? Like, it's really hard to get your name out there because there's so many people doing it, but it's going to take something. Maybe that's something for some people's luck. Other people, maybe it's just going to be literally years of hard-ass work where no one knows who or what you are, but then all of a sudden it's going to start appearing. It's going to start appearing more and more, and then the social proof is going to catch on. And, like, that's how, the sort of exponential nature of things work. And you kind of got to let, social proof do its thing. But, it's going to take a ton of work to move the needle just a little bit. And then once you get that needle to move a little bit, as long as you're doing a good job and you have a good foundation and all that stuff laid, you should start to be able to, kind of build on that. But I think that's kind of how it works somewhat.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that eventually shit works really well. Because for a time I had no hope. I was like, fuck. I literally had a whole year where I was getting like, I would be happy if I got 50 views on a podcast. I was like, wow, that was a good podcast. And it was like, honestly, I was putting everything into it, and nothing fucking budged.
Well, let me ask you this. So, who's like your first ever guest that you think was like, kind of noteworthy? Who would you say that was?
Well,
because I'm sure
probably Eric Helms potentially, and that was when I realized like a lot of stuff. Like, oh wow, fitness is not basic, pretty much. Like I realized like this guy knows a fuck ton. I have the ability to go all in on fitness, pretty much, because it was called the Student Side Hustle, and it pretty much, like, what the fuck is that about? I had no marketing strategy. I had no thoughts around, okay, who's the listener? What is my demographic? What am I aiming for? What is the message of the podcast? What is the fucking goal? I had no clue. And then basically I interviewed him, and I was thinking like, wow, there's so much you can do in fitness. Like, this shit is not basic at all. This guy's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And he's not done thinking about this stuff. So it's like, of course I shouldn't be done thinking about it, And then it's not even just my knowledge, it's like the listener's knowledge. And the listeners effectively, there is no one listener, so it's like they effectively have an infinite space of stuff to learn, I guess. It's like Joe Rogan could talk about the same topic 20 times, and it's all the time it could have value, because it's going to be a different listener every time. And potentially some people will re-listen and it'll get boring, but there's always more to learn and more nuance to apply to a topic.
So, what's really interesting, you were kind of talking a little bit about how, the kind of smartest people out there, they're still looking to learn and know more. That's the hard route. Not that many people do that. What do most people do? Well, they think they know everything, right? Because it's just easier to think like that. It's easier.
And I did.
To make, what I think is correct and what other people think is fucking stupid. It's easy to have that mindset. And this goes back into a lot of what we talked about, because that is the easy route. That is the easy way, because you don't have to put any thought into it. You don't have to go out there and read and research and try to learn more and devote your time. You can sit around and watch Netflix all night. Like, that's the easy route. It's just easy to go that route. But guess what? The people that are actually out there achieving things are not taking that route, because they're trying to push themselves. They're trying to do more. They're trying to learn more. Like, there's a reason that successful people are successful and average people are average, because they're just not going to do the same things. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I think success is something that I used to think was more complex than it actually is. But I think really it's just like the way I used to think a lot of these like self-help books were just bullshit, right? Like, because someone like Gary Vee I think he's overdone a lot of the things. And I think he has value though, but it depends. But it's like, I think these things are fundamentally true, right? A lot of the cliche truths are very true, but I don't know, to realize them is a lot harder than, like, to truly realize, like, oh shit, like, I should probably work a lot, and then luck kind of doesn't matter, but like it might happen at some point because I put in the work. And like a lot of these just fundamental truths. Yeah, I don't know.
Because it takes discipline.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to
the first book I ever read was No Excuses by Brian Tracy, and it's effectively very similar to Extreme Ownership. And I was like 14 reading it, and I was like, holy shit, everything that happens to me is because of what I do? Wow.
Yeah.
And like, it shouldn't be that. We shouldn't not think that, you know?
Because this is a tricky one, but a lot of people know what they probably should be doing, but they don't do it because it takes hard work, because it takes discipline. Listen, I didn't diet for a couple of years. I was just, hanging out, just chilling out on maintenance because, whatever, work was really busy and kids, but it was an excuse, right? It's like I wasn't getting up early. I'm not, not part of that's because I was working really late, of course, and, I got to get a decent amount of sleep, otherwise I can't do everything else. But I knew that I probably should be doing something else. Most people know that, guess what? They shouldn't be drinking 10 beers at night, but they do it anyways. They know that, guess what? Going out and being active is probably going to be better for their health, but they don't do it because they're not disciplined to do it. They don't care. Like they don't want to take that route. And so it's really interesting, man. It's, I don't know what it was for me. I'm glad something clicked, back in February when I was like, I just got to get my shit together. And again, it's funny saying that because most people are probably, again, not that I'm even, successful, right? Success is all a relative term, right? It's who you compare yourself to. Well, if I'm comparing myself to, Bill Gates, well, no one gives a shit what I'm doing. But some people are probably like, he's, whatever, somewhat successful. But it's like, I guess what? I had so much to improve upon. And I think it's just that whole mindset in general where, again, it goes back to humility. Ego is the enemy. You can't think that you're the best. You can't think that you know everything, because if you think that, that's just a terrible mindset to be in, and you're not going to learn. You're not going to get better because you already think you're the man. So why would you want to get better if that's the case?
I completely agree. It's kind of, this stuff, I don't think it's cool. Like, this stuff is so, you can go so in depth in this stuff, right? And it's so complex, but it's so simple, but you can never learn it all, which is fantastic, because then it gives me a lot to learn and talk about. I've noticed I've kept you for quite a while over what we talked about. So we'll end it off here. But where can people find you specifically, and then where can people find RP?
Yeah, well, I would say I don't care if people find me specifically, right? Just go check out RP, man. That's the best spot. RPstrength on Instagram, on Facebook, Renaissance Periodization, RPstrength.com. I think it's really cool. Check out the RP Diet app. It's actually really interesting in the Google Play side of things. It's currently in the top 20 top grossing health and fitness apps. So stoked about that. It's gotten up to the top 10 before. I think the highest ever went was number 6. Not that I obsessively look at that every day. I'm just kidding. Of course I do. But
don't worry, I do it with podcast rankings too.
Yeah, totally. No, everyone does, right? But that's the thing, right? You see that and you're like, okay, well, here we are. Well, how do we get up to the top? How do we get better? What's the next step that we have to take? All that stuff ties into what we talked about. But RP Strength. RP, man. And
what's your Instagram?
RP Strength. Okay. Nick.shaw.rp.
Sick. Cool. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to this episode. I hope you give us a review or you really enjoyed the episode. Let me know any feedback. I'm always open to any criticism, anything like that. Reach out to me on Instagram at James_Walsham, or if you'd like to follow my business account, follow at the Hypertrophy Hub. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you would like to help the show, there's a list of ways to do so in the show notes, but if you're wondering how, the best thing to do is just give us a review on iTunes, or just let me know how the show can be improved. Thank you very much.